Hi, I'm Monique Samuels, and I'm the founder of Mielle Essentials. Mielle products are designed with your mind, body, and soul in mind. We are a Black-owned, woman-owned business who specialize in making products that are cruelty-free, pure, and therapeutic. Why try Mielle Essentials? Because we eliminate harsh chemicals and only use ingredients with natural elements that provide a variety of wonderful benefits for you and your household. Feel free to give us feedback by hashtagging Mielle Essentials on all social media platforms. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, where you can get essential oil recipes, fun product facts, and other important usage information. Nature knows best, and so does Mielle.
Hard working every day, not a lazy mom, got no time to play, always on the go. You stuck on the flow, but it's time for the show.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another amazing episode of your Not for Lazy Moms podcast. I'm so excited today. Allie, how is it going?
It is going good. I am on my second cup of coffee. I will tell you, I am freezing right now. I don't know what the temperature, you guys keep it at your house, but my husband keeps it so cold. And if I touch it even 1 degree, it's like the end of the world. Okay.
Same.
I can't be hot, so I have to keep it cool in the house.
He's infamous for saying it's hot in here. I said, no, you're hot. Because it is freezing in here.
Yes.
I have my heater going right now, and it's cold outside. It snowed last night, so yeah, I'm like over it right now. It's freezing, so no, I totally understand. How you doing today?
I'm doing well.
Yeah, I had a ton of lives and interviews and things, so Chris was holding it down yesterday with the kids, tucked them in and everything. I had to wake up this morning and he already had Chase downstairs in the kitchen. I was like, "Oh, you on some super dad level?"
No, I just got up because I knew you was tired from going to bed late, so I tried to get up early with him. He was already up, so I didn't want him waking you up, which I knew you was kind of in and out a little bit.
I was so delirious. I heard him talking. He's like talking to me. He's giving me kisses on my face. I'm like, "All right, Chase." And the next thing I know, I had peace. Then my alarm went off. But it's all good. I'm really excited about today's episode. This is the finale of season 3 of our podcast. I cannot believe we're already at episode 20. It's been a nice long season with, I just feel like we took it up to another notch with the content this season. And I feel like we really, it's almost like we need to just rebrand and call it Not for Lazy People, because we tackle so many topics that really are beneficial, not just for parenting or relationships, but just as a whole person. So I'm really excited about today's episode because we're talking about minding your business. So when it comes to generational wealth, you have to know how to mind your business, and no pun intended, but kind of intended, so I could not think of a better guest for today's episode other than the guest that I'm about to announce to you. But before we get there, I just want to tell you some of the topics that we really want to tackle today. How do you take your vision to the next level? Why is it that some businesses grow while others are stagnant? What are the key ingredients to a successful business, and how to translate what's in your mind into a full-fledged empire? So before I pop her on the screen, I just want to brag on her for a little bit. And I know she's very humble. So let me do this before I pop her on. But our special guest today is Monique Rodriguez from Mielle. I love Mielle. She actually sponsored giveaways for us in the past for our live podcast shows. We've been talking on and off for years, and she's just an amazing person. I love watching her on Instagram. She has been building an empire for years now, almost a decade, or probably even longer. I just know from when she started her company in 2014. But her beautiful long locks and her amazing advanced hair formula is what took us all by storm. So that's what jumped off Mielle. Her advanced hair formula is a unique proprietary blend of herbs, amino acids, and minerals to support healthy hair, but not just hair, skin, nails, and your whole immune system. So I'm all the way down for that. I love anything that's natural and organic, and that's what she brings. So since then, Mielle has expanded into a half dozen collections under Monique's direction. And It includes products in the skincare realm and also for children. Mielle has been distributed in more than 87 countries and can be found in more than 100,000 stores across the US. Monique travels nationally and internationally, speaking to women, empowering them and empowering youth. And that is why she is the boss that she is. So I'm gonna pop her on the screen now. Hey, Monique.
Hey. My eyes started watering when you were reading. I'm just like, oh my goodness.
You're so amazing. I'm so excited to have you here. It's like every time you post something on Instagram, if y'all don't follow her on Instagram, I'll make sure I put it in the description. She's at Exquisite Mo. And it's like watching her. Every time I see you post something, it's just like goals after goals after goals. And it's nice to have that, because what I appreciate about you is that you don't just give us the beautiful glitz and glam. You give us the real. You give us the process. And that's what a lot of times is missing nowadays, especially on social media. Right. So I commend you for that. And I'm so excited to have you here.
I am so excited to be here. And I just want to commend you because, I mean, I know you read my bio, and like you said, I'm humble, but I want to brag on you. Like, you are killing it. You know, you are a mom of 3, you're married, you have a podcast, you just launched a new company. I mean, you have other companies that you're working on. You're also on TV. So when you talk about me balancing it all, like, how do you do it? So I just commend you and say, like, you go, girl, keep doing your thing, because you are also amazing as well. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you. No, I truly appreciate it. We are going to get into this. Allie, I know you have some questions, and I know we're just excited about this episode because we've been doing this whole generational wealth series. Yeah. And I think people sometimes, when they see these companies like Mielle, out of nowhere, they think out of nowhere. They're just, they're on every shelf. You see them all over social media, all over your TV, and you're just like, wow, how did they do that? And sometimes it can seem, for some, it seems unattainable. Right. Some people already think that, oh, they must have just had an inside connect and they just blew up, and they knew the right people and they just blew up, and they don't really understand all of the hard work that goes into it. Yeah. So I just want to know, just going back to the beginning, what was life like for you before Mielle? And tell us a little bit about your background, your family dynamic, your mother of 2. And we want to hear more about you and just as a mom before we get into the business part of it all.
Yeah, absolutely. So before Mielle, I was a nurse. I worked as a labor and delivery registered nurse, and I did that for 5 years. And then I transitioned into being a home health nurse for the last 3 years of my nursing career. So the reason why I became a nurse was not because it was something that I was truly passionate about. I'm from the South Side of Chicago. My mom was pretty much a single mom. My dad, he was there, but he suffers from drug addiction. And so he was present, but not present, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So she was pretty much a single mom taking care of me and my brother. And, she was a secretary at a hospital, University of Chicago, for like 30 something years. And so she always had me exposed to like nurses at the hospital. And she always instilled in me, like, you need to have a job that has stability. You got to have something to fall back on. Nursing is probably the best career for you. And, my mom, she only did what she knew best, and that was to make sure that her daughter was set up for job stability. So she always encouraged me to become a nurse. So I went to nursing school and did that. And I remember when I first stepped foot on the labor and delivery floor, I was like, this is great. I had fun. It was an adrenaline rush. I enjoyed working with women. But I told myself, I said, I can't do this for the rest of my life, because nursing can be very taxing on your body. I also work nights because I didn't trust anybody to watch my kids. So I'm working night shift. My husband was working day shift. And I'm like, well, if I continue to work night shift for the rest of my nursing career, when I'm 30, I'm going to look like I'm 50. So I'm like, that's not going to happen. So I transitioned from labor and delivery, and then I went into home health. And then in 2013, I got pregnant with my 3rd child. My husband and I, we were expecting our son. And my pregnancy was a high-risk pregnancy. And unfortunately, because of that high risk, my son passed away at birth. So as you can imagine, like, my whole world was completely torn upside down. And I was in a very, very dark place, wondering, like, why did this happen to me? Why was I going through this? Like, I'm a nurse. I'm a labor and delivery nurse. I knew everything that I was supposed to do to take care of my body. I knew all the signs and symptoms to look for, but I could not save myself, right?
Wow.
And, you know, when that happened, I lost so much blood. It was, you know, I also had a bowel obstruction. So it was also threatening to my life. And my daughter, Mackenzie, she was high risk. And, you know, I lost a lot of blood with her. I could have lost my life with her as well. But God, you know, he saw me through. And, you know, this time, you know, unfortunately, my son didn't make it. And that painful situation allowed me to, number one, deepen my relationship with God spiritually, because I didn't grow up in church. So I knew there was a God. I did not have a relationship with God because I didn't know how. So my husband and I, we started going to church. And we got saved together when that happened to us. And when we got saved, that's when our lives shifted. So you talk about really surrendering and letting God take over and be the center of your life, and what happens when you truly put God first. That's what happened to us, because when we started to, you know, give it over to God and not, you know, feel down and out and depressed, that I was like, God, I'm just going to let you continue to lead me and guide me. And, you know, I just had this vision one day to talk about hair on social media. And me talking about hair care was also an outlet for me to like express myself on social media. So, you know, I found comfort in, you know, connecting with other ladies with talking about hair care. My intention was not to create a hair care company. I wanted to create like a beauty shop, because I was like, I want to help women feel beautiful. And it started with me going in my kitchen and making like different concoctions. I would mix like egg and mayonnaise and bananas, aloe. And after a lot of trial and error, tons of research, I realized that food molecules don't actually penetrate our hair. So here I am making these different concoctions thinking I'm doing something, and it's like not even doing anything. And I'm like, well, let me try to understand, because these are great ingredients for the hair. How can I extract these nutrients? So I was able to find a chemist in Chicago. I got a lot of no's before someone was willing to work with me. And I said, listen, I want to make these great ingredients with, I want to make these great products with these great ingredients. How can you help me create a formulation that's actually preserved so I can sell it to people? And so they were willing to help me. And I started with just one product. And people always say, well, why did you just start with one product? Because I didn't have a lot of money. You know, we were living paycheck to paycheck, and middle-class family. So, you know, it was hard. And, you know, they were willing to work with me. And I started with one product. I launched it in May of 2014. And that one bottle of oil sold like crazy. And to this day, and I told you this before, Monique, from the day I launched, I have not went without a sale since May 23rd, 2014. So
wow.
Just grown, and here we are 6.5 years later, being, you know, we're a global beauty brand. We're in every major retail. And like you said, you know, people see it and they're like, well, how did she become like this overnight sensation? You know, I had to go through some things to, number one, even realize what my purpose was. And then I had to also have a solid foundation, because when you have a business, and a business that grows so fast and that scales, you know, we're actually doing on-the-job training. So we don't know, like my husband and I, we didn't have any business experience, but we had a lot of faith and we were willing to take risks. And here we are 6 years later, you know, we're in every major retail, we're a global brand, and it has truly been a blessing just to see like how God has used us. And I can give you so many stories of how things in Mielle have been divine order. So it's like, you can't tell me that, you know, God is not real or this is not God. The reason why Mielle is here is because God has blessed us with this amazing company after a painful situation.
Wow. It's incredible. I was like getting a little emotional when you were
You're gonna make me cry.
I know, I'm sorry. We went through a similar situation, and people ask me, where did Mielle Eve come from?
Yeah.
Eve is the child we didn't have.
Wow.
And we always had two names every time we had pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
And we never found out the sex of the baby until we pushed the baby out. So our third time getting pregnant, it was either Chase Omari or Mielle Eve, and we had a miscarriage. And then the last pregnancy resulted with Chase Omari, and that was a rough pregnancy. And like, lost a lot of blood. Literally was almost blood transfusion level, like that I would need. Like, it was crazy. And when I started Mielle, when I started Mielle Eve, I'm looking at the name on my paper. When I started Mielle Eve, it wasn't something that I wanted to do. It was something that people kept saying, where can we get your essential oils? And I'm recommending them different brands that I love. And they're like, no, we want your oils. And I'm like, oh, well, I don't have any oils. And they're like, well, when you get your oils, you let us know. So it's amazing how sometimes this great success can come out of like a place that is so painful but meaningful. So we're behind it. So so that's where Mielle Eve came from. It was the child that we could have had. It could have been a daughter. So I named my business after, that baby. So when you told that story, it just like flooded emotions in me. So that's incredible. 6 years later, I actually talked to you. I texted you a few weeks ago. I did a soft launch on Mielle Eve on December 15th, and we fully launched the company January 1st. And it was amazing because you had just told me that story about how your company is the day you went live on your website is the day that you've not had an order. You've not had a day go by without an order ever since. Mm-hmm. And I remember when you said that, I was like, oh, I'm so going to manifest this. That's amazing to hear that. And then December 15th, every day since then, I've had an order. Several orders. I'm like, it's been so amazing. And then just being able to connect with people that are like-minded, just going through things that really push you to really change your circle.
Yeah.
Push you to have people around you that are truly divine, like divinely put in your life. And I feel like you've been that. I feel like Ali has been that. We've been together since day one when I first started doing my podcast. And, having my husband by my side and,
she gave me a job. I get to haul the boxes out.
Yeah.
Listen, that's every husband's job, right? We tell them what to do, right?
I'm supposed to be retired playing PlayStation 5 all day.
Oh my goodness. This has just been so incredible. And one of the things that you just said also, and that stood out to me, is that number one, you got a lot of no's. And that didn't stop you. And I want for everybody listening right now to understand that no doesn't mean never. No just means not right now. And you got to figure out another way to get that yes. So don't give up. Whatever it is that you're trying to pursue, keep pushing and keep pursuing. Somebody's going to tell you yes. And it's going to be the right person in the right situation. Mm-hmm. And I love it.
One second. I'm sorry, Alan. One thing I want to say, I'm glad that you pointed out that you didn't have a whole lot of money in the beginning, because so many people that look at starting a business and building an empire, they think everybody, when they look at the examples that's out there, they think that everybody was born with money. So that's why I was able to accomplish that goal. But so good that you said that, you didn't start out with a lot of money. You was living paycheck to paycheck, middle-class family, and you still made it work.
Yeah. I wanted to touch on the no's, Monique, that you mentioned. But first, I just want to thank you for sharing your story. Monique is actually the one who really helped me. I also went through a loss as well. And I feel like it's something we don't talk about enough, and we should, because, as we just experienced, you triggered something to Monique, and clearly it was very therapeutic to share and let it out. And I feel like that we shouldn't be, suffering in silence about that, because it continues to be hard, and it continues to be something that we navigate and deal with. And just, the success and what has come out of it is just, for both of you, is just so beautiful and special. So when you were talking about the no's from other, businesses and everything, so I work with small businesses, and a lot of times, their business, it's theirs, they're very protective of it. And not only to hear a no, but to hear any sort of criticism, right? Even if the criticism is beneficial. So can you speak on that, about how, maybe you didn't maybe the feedback wasn't what you wanted to hear, but maybe there was a moment where you realized, you know what, this is what I need to hear. I need to shift my plan. I need to shift my product. Because I think hearing the criticism and being open to it is how we do get to the next level with our business.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So, and the thing is that what matters is who the criticism is from as well.
Okay.
And of course, being an artist, I like to consider myself an artist. I'm a creative person. And as a creative, as a business owner, you are sensitive about the things that you create, right? Like I look at Mielle as my baby. And so if someone critiques your baby and says, oh, your hair looks crazy, like you're going to take some type of offense to it because it's like, it's your baby. And I have learned that, you know, people sometimes criticize you because they want to do what you are doing. So you also have to consider the source. And my thought process is I focus on the 90%. If 90% of the people love a product, I'm not going to focus on the 10% who want to make a bad review, because that 10% doesn't matter. And I have had instances where I did step up and say something because it was a bad review, but the person wasn't using the product correctly. And so me correcting her on how to use the product turned into a whole spin out situation. And it was like, you know, why did I even indulge in people that have only like a small view, right? And people who are already determined to look at you from a certain perspective, like I had to learn that I don't have anything to prove to anybody, right? As long as I'm walking in my purpose and I'm doing what God has called me to do, and 90% of the people love it, I'm not going to focus on the 10%. However, if you have 90% of the people who are saying that something is wrong with the product, yes, you want to take that feedback and go back with your team and see how you can make it better. But, you know, as I'm growing and learning, I'm learning to not focus on the naysayers, because if you are at a position where you feel like you're ready for success, you got to be ready to be talked about. You need to be ready to be lied on. You have to be ready for all the type of criticism that's going to come your way, because you have an anointing on you. And sometimes people don't like what they see in you because they don't have the confidence and the courage to do it themselves. Mm-hmm. You look at it from a different perspective and know that it comes with the territory. The higher you grow, the more people are going to love you, but you're also going to have a lot more people that hate you as well too. And it's unfortunate, especially in the Black community, as much as we try to get ahead, in order for us to keep moving ahead, we have to stop trying to bring each other down and having that crabs in the barrel mentality in order for us to advance as people. So the narrative has to change with us, because, you know, I see it a lot. A lot of my criticism comes from women that look like me.
Yeah.
Right. And it's so unfortunate and it's so unfair, because, you know, it can also turn you to be bitter and not want to help women. But you have to, again, you know, for me, I talk to myself a lot. I talk to God a lot. And I always ask God to guide me and not let my heart turn bitter to women. You know, I want to continue to serve women. I want to continue to, you know, serve them to the best of my ability. And when you focus on criticism, it steers you away from the ultimate purpose that God has for you. It's a distraction. So, you know, I feel like what you focus on grows. And if you focus on the positive, that's what will grow. You focus on negative, that's what will grow as well.
I love that. I love the 90% versus the 10%, because so many times we let that 10% just cloud our headspace, right? And take control. And I just love how you put that.
Yeah. And the thing is, I think as humans, like, you know, we're humans. So sometimes things will get to you, but you got to like get yourself in check right away and snap out of it, because you're right. It can become clouded and now you're not focused on the prize that's ahead of you.
Yes, absolutely. Now you were talking about building solid foundations. How did you, and I'm sure it wasn't even intentional, it's just probably just something that just gradually, just naturally happened. But how did you prepare yourself, your marriage, your children? How did you prepare them as you were on this road to success? And as you started to attain more and more success, how were you able to help your family and with your marriage, and even with self-care for yourself? How are you able to navigate those changes as you were growing?
So it starts with prioritizing. You know, it's in my Instagram bio, God, family, and business. And that's how I operate my life. I always make sure that my family comes first before business. I always try to be present with them as much as I can. You know, it's easy to, you know, get on your phone and talk to your kid while you're scrolling on social media. But the thing is being aware of it. And it's like, once you're aware of it, it's like, let me put my phone down and pay attention to what you're saying, you know? So, you know, we have issues where we slip up, but, you know, you have to just remain focused on what's important and knowing that there's time that you can't get back with your kids. And also from the very beginning, I've always included my husband and my kids along the journey. So it was very important for me that, you know, when I started this company, I told my husband, I said, I don't want to build a company that when my kids get older, they resent me for building this company because they don't feel like they're a part of it. So my kids, they would go to trade shows with us. They would work the cash register. They would pack boxes in the early stages. And so they always felt like Mielle was theirs as well. Not, you know, this is mommy's company and she's always traveling. She's gone all the time. No, as much as I could, I would always bring them with me. My husband always travels with me. So, you know, it has also strengthened in our bond. We've gotten even closer because we're always together. We're working together. So I feel like if you just include the people that you love in a part of what you're doing and make them feel like they're a part of it, they're contributing to it, like that's how you maintain that foundation. Because if you don't, it'll be, well, especially like your husband, like, well, she's always traveling, she doesn't include me. Like that'll have his mind wondering, like she's traveling. And you don't want that type of, you know, messiness like in your household. So it's like, listen, we along in this ride together. And as long as you include people, I feel like everyone will be happy.
Yes, I love that.
Going off that, how do you disconnect? I mean, how?
Oh yeah.
Do you ever? You know, how do you force yourself to do that?
So I actually I have a little calendar here, my little planner that I carry with me everywhere, and I will write down, just like I write down things that I have to do. I will write down in here like, don't do nothing for this time. You know, or binge watch TV, or, you know, read a book. So it's like you have to be intentional. It's all about being intentional about, you know, self-care and making sure that you're spending time for yourself. So like for me on the weekends is when like I go to get my nails done, manicures, pedicures, like things that you enjoy doing. You got to set time aside for that, because I feel that if you are not whole, if you're not pouring from a full cup, like you're gonna not have anything to give to your kids, to give to your husband. And so, you know, I just always pray and ask God, like, just to keep me balanced, and know that, you know, I pray for this. So I'm not going to complain about having a busy schedule. I'm just going to ask God to just, you know, help me set some time aside to make sure that I'm, you know, taking care of Monique, because if I don't take care of Monique, I won't be able to take care of anyone else. I won't be able to pour into anyone doing a podcast or anything if I don't take care of myself.
Yes, no, that is so true. Like even with our kids, I definitely have them downstairs. Even my 2-year-old, he will actually help tear off the plastic to the containers that I'm filling up with bath salts, or, you know, and he's so good at it. He's very particular. He makes sure everything goes in the trash. Oldest son knows how to build boxes now. My daughter actually was helping me put the labels on the packages, and stickers, and she actually, this was so funny. She said, "Mommy, do you have anything else for me to do?" And I was like, well, I'm actually, you know, packaging all of the orders, and I'm like making them look pretty and stuff. So I was like, so I think I gave you everything that I have for you right now. And she said, "Oh, well, I can do what you're doing." And I was like, "Really?" And she was like, "Yeah." I was like, okay. So I gave her a box, and I told her, I said, "Put the peanuts in first." So she did that. And I said, "Now you take the crinkle paper and you put that around." And I videotaped it. She actually did a really good job. And I was so impressed. I'm in my head thinking that she probably gonna be to do this.
Tell her, like, oh my God, you did so well doing it. Like, you're gonna be the next CEO. Like, your heads up. They love that.
I love it. I was really impressed.
I have a question. So early on, when you first started getting everything going, I know you was really busy. Did you create the balance at that time, or did you kind of just work overload versus now everything is kind of formatted and it's been running itself and you kind of oversee it? Now you can pretty much create the balance and have the me time, and, you know, that way you have a full cup for your family. So early on, did you like work overboard and not have that free time?
I did work a lot early on, but I have always been intentional about, making sure that I had that balance. And I can tell you this, my kids, they were in sports. They were both running track. Like in the beginning, Mielle was doing gymnastics when I first started. So I can tell you, like, I never missed a gymnastics meet. I was always there for any type of sporting activity. I always made sure that I took them on like little dates. Because it was so important to me, and knowing like I lost my son. So I probably like, I don't know if it's guilt, but probably poured into them even more because, it was like, I want to keep you all close to me. And I want you guys to just, really appreciate the work that I'm putting in. So I've always done a really good job, I feel, of having that balance from the very beginning, because I never wanted to lose sight of it. Like, it was very important for me because my mom worked a lot growing up, right? She worked at a hospital, so she had to work holidays, weekends. And I always told myself when I was younger, like, I don't ever want to work holidays or weekends. Like, I want to be there with my family. So even when I worked as a nurse, and this is probably not the best advice, but I would call off if I had to work a holiday, because I'm like, listen, my kids are important. I need to be there for Christmas. So I've really just been real intentional about being there, especially for special moments.
Right.
Yeah, I've been struggling with that just because when I launched, I guess I was not thinking on the level of God's thinking, because when I did the pre-launch, I did not expect to get so many sales. My diffuser sold out in 4 days. I mean, I was downstairs. I started out, I had a small closet that I was actually working out of that I thought was sufficient. And I had to immediately pack up everything out that closet and I literally turned my whole basement into a distribution center.
Yeah.
I did not expect it. So there was times where I was waking up, and thank God that Chris is patient, because I was waking up at 8 o'clock in the morning, immediately getting dressed, and I was downstairs, and I would be working from 8 o'clock in the morning until like 4 a.m. the next morning, because it was not just Mielle Eve Essentials packages, but also I'm, doing podcasts. I'm creating an episode. I'm downloading and uploading the videos, editing the videos. And then I have other projects that I'm working on as well. So it was like nonstop, to the point where he had to like sit me down, like, okay, you got to get some rest.
That's why I asked the question about balance.
I know it.
I would say, like, I feel like, you got to delegate.
Yes.
You got to be really good at delegating and finding trustworthy people that you can give certain tasks. And that's another thing. Like, I've had a really good support system from the very beginning. Okay. So one of the things that why my husband and I, we work so well together, is he will take on a bulk of the heavy stuff so I can, do my mom duties. So, so. Right. And my mom was also very helpful. She would come in and she would pack orders. And then we had a friend of the family who we trusted to come in our house to help pack orders. So I had to I had to learn to delegate very quickly. Once you show them and you train them what to do, that alleviates some of that task, because you don't want to get burnt out, because all of that, what you're doing, you will get burnt out. So you got to delegate fast and quickly. And teach people how to do the minute stuff, right? You focus on pushing the brand. And that's what I focused on in the beginning. I focused on pushing the brand, what I was good at. And the minute stuff, packing orders, customer service, like I had to bring people in quickly to do that for me.
And that's where I am because I'm answering the 800 number. I'm emails. I'm like, so I have been training some people. Yeah. I actually have a good friend of mine. Her daughter has been coming and helping me, and I've been like training her. And then my assistant also helps out as well. But she's overloaded with her normal day to day. So it's like bringing her into, like, we would be up till, it'd be like 2 o'clock in the morning. I'd be like, all right, Lee, it's time to go home. I know you're tired, but now it's finally gotten to a point where things kind of are starting to taper down, and I'm able to actually have the weekends off again. And it was just like, catching up and trying to get ahead of all of the orders and everything else. In the beginning was just like, whoa. But now it's finally like, I got it under control, Go ahead. I'm sorry, Allie.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, I'm sure it takes a minute to like really figure out your routine and your rhythm and going off of, delegating. I feel like, and we talked about this in previous podcasts, especially as moms, it's almost like we want, we don't want to ask for help, right? Like we don't want to ask at all. But as you said, it's so important to, and it's not saying that you're a failure. It's saying, look, my business is doing awesome. I to continue it to do awesome. Like I do need to bring in some people, for those who don't have the family close by, or maybe I'm sure at this point you've hired outside people of your family and your friends. At what point did you feel comfortable doing that? Because again, this is something, your business, your baby, you're so protective of it. At what point do you do that?
So at the point where you're overwhelmed, like Monique, because, like you said, asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength.
Yes.
So, Monique, I'm sure like when the orders start coming in, it's overwhelming because you're not expecting it. And so like, in the very beginning, me and my husband, we were packing orders, we were getting the orders out, right? But when it got to the point where it was affecting like, am I able to cook dinner? Like, am I helping the kids with the homework? So it was like, I had to immediately have my mom like, listen, can you come and help me, please?
Yes.
She would like work evening shift. And then, it started with people that we trusted like dearly. Like I know my mom is the only person I let watch my kids. So at that point, she was the only person that I was going to let handle my business.
Right.
And then she would even pack orders over the weekend so we can just go on a family vacation. So she was very instrumental in the very beginning with helping. And then, like I said, we brought in another family friend that was well trusted. Because the orders were just becoming like too much, and we had to like have people to make sure that we got orders out quickly. So we had 2 family friends come in. We had a full operations in our garage. We had a supply chain. We had a time clock, all of that. It was just operation in our garage. And the fortunate piece, like my husband, he is a former UPS employee. So he understands logistics. He understands like operations. So, he was able to set up the operation based off of his experience. So I was really grateful for that. And because he worked at UPS, like they have them, I feel like it's like the Army. So they are, drill sergeants. It's like they train them so well. And it's like he applied that same skill set to helping us get up and operating. And so, when you feel like you are not focusing on the aspects that you're great at. And for me, I was really good at social media. I was really good at, like I said, pushing the brand. And if I took away time, it's all about as you grow as an entrepreneur, even at the stage that I'm in now, like I want to find people that I can bring on to my company, train them and empower them so I can better use my time in other places to grow the business. Yeah. And you have to have that mindset from the very beginning. So identify what you're good at and bring people in and empower them and train them to do the stuff that you don't want to do and focus on what you need to do to push the brand moving forward.
Yes. It's funny too, because I've been talking to my mom. My mom lives in Florida. So the issue with me and Chris, all of our family live outside of where we live. Like we don't have any family nearby. So I've been talking to my mom. I'm like, all right, once things really start growing, I'm gonna need you to move up here. Yeah. Like and she like you, my mom is the one person who I completely trust with my kids. Like I don't even think about them when she's around. It's like that comfort, and I love it. So she's always like, okay, I'm gonna get some time off and I'm gonna come up there and so you and Chris can get away. So we love when my mom comes to town for sure. But yeah, it is hard trying to find the people that are trustworthy, especially when they're in your home. Yeah. And even the platform that me and Chris just came off of, I'm like, my circle is like this big. And but we'll figure it out and we'll get through it. And just like I said, watching you definitely is such an encouragement. Seeing how you start and seeing where you are, it's like I feel like we have so much in common just outside of our names. So to those who don't know, we're both Libras. We're both born days apart, same year. It's too funny. But one day I was scrolling through social media And my son stopped me. He said, let me see that picture. And I scrolled back up. And he said, Mommy, is that you? I was like, oh, no, that's Monique from Mielle.
Oh, that's so cute.
So funny. But, I love that. So I wanted to ask you, before I ask you that question, when you started building your team, I know you started with your mom, and then you had another trusted friend that was close to the family. When it came to fulfilling other duties, how long did it take you to find the right people, just so that people can have an idea of timing? Because I don't want people to rush this process, because when you are looking for the right person for whatever job description that's going to help your company, it's nice to have a good idea of what's normal. How hard is it? Do you have to go through one or two people to get to that one person that just makes it all glue? Or, like when you started maybe putting out, an ad or however you did it, how long did it take and how many interviews did it take for you to just know, like, okay, my gut's telling me this is the right person for this particular job?
That's a really good question. So I don't think there's a cookie cutter approach to this. I don't think there's a certain time frame that you can go by, because I have hired people on the first interview and they have worked out and they're still with me to this day. Wow. And then I've also gone through some bad apples. So you don't know what you don't know, right? And that's why I said this is on the job training. So I have learned that you have to trust people until they give you a reason to not trust them, if that makes sense. And as scary as that may seem, because this is your business, you have to have the mentality to hire slow and to fire fast, right? So you got to sharpen your discernment. And I'll just give you an example. I went through 2 marketing directors, and the first marketing director that we hired, my husband liked her. I didn't, but we compromised and I went against my gut feeling and we brought her on. She did not last for 2 months because he immediately saw the red flags that I saw in the interview. But, I was upset with myself because I'm like, well, shoot, why didn't I just be more forceful and saying like, no, like, let's not hire her. So my point in saying this is you're not going to get it right. It's trial and error, but once that person gives you an inkling that they can be detrimental to your company or not good for the growth of your company, you got to let them go quickly, because every person that you bring on should help you increase your revenue, should help you get closer to your goals. And if they are not helping you evolve, then they don't need to be involved in what you're trying to build. Wow. And that has to be your mentality. So I don't think there's a certain time frame. You're just going to have to keep interviewing people and hire. And once they come on, just see how they are. And I'm not a person that goes just by resumes. I go by character. And are you coachable? Can I teach you certain things? Because you can look really good on paper. And that's what I learned with the first marketing director that we had. My husband was impressed by her resume. Her resume was like off the chain, but her character was also off the chain. So
you can relate this to life, bringing people into your life and getting them out of your life. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like, if they're not contributing to your growth, then don't be afraid to just cut people off and let them go. And I'm not that person that, I cut people off every year, right? I try to make sure that I don't surround myself with people that I have to cut off so often, right? You said my circle is also I probably have like 5 friends that are close to me that I let into my house. Nobody else comes into my house. So, your discernment has to be on point. And again, you're not going to always get it right, but when you do get it right, be quick on that action.
Yes. Now, I want to speak to just the idea of focusing on your business, minding your business, just because a lot of times, for instance, Mielle, hair care line, skincare, and everything else that you've built, there are other businesses out there that are doing similar things that Mielle is doing. So I think sometimes when people, they kind of get intimidated by like, oh, well, this particular company is doing this, that, or the other, and that company's doing that. Let me implement that. Let me implement this. And then next thing you know, they have a whole mess on their hands because they're not minding their own business. So can you speak to that? how you focus on your brand, how you focus on Mielle, and how that really doesn't matter what other people are doing. You're still doing you.
Yeah. So, I mean, because you got to realize that, you know, authenticity matters. You know, when you're going into a space, what's going to sell your brand is you. Yeah. Right. And the thing is, nobody can be you. When God created you, he didn't create a duplicate of you. He didn't create a clone. Like, he created you. And that's what we have to be able to identify, like the secret sauce that like is in your company is how you appeal to people. Like, God assigns certain people that are going to be assigned to your dream, right? And there are also going to be people, like I said earlier, that are assigned to not like you, and that's not for you. And that is totally okay. And for me, it's having that tunnel vision. What you focus on grows. If I'm focused on building Mielle, like, I have no time to focus on looking to my left or right, because what happens when you look to your left or right? You get off focus. You know, I forgot the analogy, like when the horses are on the racetrack, they put that thing, I don't know what it's called, on their eyes. Blinders. Yeah. They put the blinders on their eyes because they don't want them to get distracted. So for me, I hold that analogy to my heart, because I don't want to look at what nobody else is doing, because what can happen is you can unconsciously mimic what they're doing because you're so focused on them. And while you're focused on them, they over here surging while you over here trying to mimic. And the thing is, you'll always stay behind because you are too busy focused on somebody else. Yeah. And, you know, my mom always taught me growing up, like, manage your own business. Don't worry about what nobody else doing. If you see a fight over there, you walk the other way. It's the same thing. Like, I don't care what anybody else is doing. Like, I'm focusing on being great. I'm focusing on making sure that my visions are coming from God and that he is blessing it. And, you know, we just continue to operate in our gift. And as long as you are operating in your gift will continue to make room for you. And it's so hard with social media because it's so easy to compare, but you can't compare your chapter 1 to somebody's chapter 300. You got to, you know, stay your course and run your race. And if you stay focused on that, just watch how God is going to send the resources. He's going to send the money, everything that you need to be successful. He's going to send it because he sees that you are focused on who he has called you to be, not who he has called Allie to be.
Right. Right. No, I love that. So if you were to give like a step-by-step, if you could sum it up in just a word for each step, as a person is trying to develop their vision and develop their business, if you could give me just like 3 to 5 words that sum up the process from start to finish, what would you say?
Let me think about that. So I would say you have to study the market, understand your competitive landscape, do your research, and then you need to build a community, because community matters. And then you need to make sure that you are serving others. And the 5th one, make sure that you are solving a problem.
Solve a problem. That's good. Listen, if y'all haven't been taking notes this entire episode, I don't know what y'all trying to do. Because, I mean, you've been giving us gems, like literally along the entire episode. So many tips. I've been taking notes myself. As we wrap up, I'm just going to go through some of the things that I just wrote down that you were saying throughout the conversation. 1, you get a lot of no's, keep pushing. Doesn't matter. Keep going until you get your yes. Number 2, build a solid foundation. Number 3, prioritize God, family, business. I love how you keep family first, because that's really what's most important. That's what we do. What we do is so that we can support our family, you know? So I love that. Number 4, incorporating your family into your business. Number 5, hire slow, fire fast. I like that. Number 6, trust your gut.
Yeah.
Look, I'm all about 2020 was actually the year that I told God I'm going to work on trusting my instincts and whatever he's given me, just being more discerning. And that is so important. And sometimes it's like you have to, you naturally want to go with that instinct to just like say something, even though your gut's telling you just be quiet, you know, and it's difficult, but it's attainable. So definitely trust your gut. Number 7, understand that it's going to be trial and error. And number 8, tunnel vision. Put those blinders on. I love that. Yeah. Before we wrap, did you have anything else you want to?
I learned a lot.
Yep. So you're gonna start helping me more besides taking the boxes to UPS?
I pick up the heavy stuff when they come.
I keep trying to get him to learn how to pack the orders. Oh, let me say this before we go.
I'm gonna learn it one day, but I just ain't got it in me right now.
You don't feel like he said he put in all his work on the NFL.
That's the thing. That's the thing. I'm comfortable, I guess. And don't get it twisted. I support Monique. I believe in everything that she's doing. I'm proud of her. And I just want to create a little bit more balance. But early on, I know, you were overwhelmed. There was so many orders coming through, which is a blessing from God. So I took the blood of the kids and, held it back from that aspect. And eventually I'll get down there and learn how to pack the orders, but I just ain't got it in me right now. But I take them to UPS, I take them to the post office, I lift the heavy stuff.
That's good.
Yep. And
You know what? As Monique said earlier, like, know your strengths and focus on your strengths. So that works.
If I get a little bit more often 2 notes between us, I get down there and pack every box you need.
I love it.
Oh my God. All right, we're gonna work on that.
Yes, I promise you that. That's a right.
You done made me forget what I was about to say. Man, I was going to say something. Oh, that's what it was. I do want to also point out, I love the way you pack your boxes when you.
Oh, thank you.
Out. So I want y'all to know, I received some orders. When I receive orders from Mielle, they come looking like an influencer kit, and I just held on to it. And I couldn't throw it away. It just looked too good. Like, I was like, this is amazing. And I had that box sit in my closet for years.
Oh.
When I came to start Mielle Eve, me and my assistant were talking about how we're going to pack the orders and come up with a plan. And I look over and I see my Mielle box and I go grab it. I said, this is what I want. I want all of my customers to feel like they're an influencer. And I love that you do that. So you definitely inspired me to do that. And I get so many compliments from people on how the order was packed. So I thank you for that. You were just, I don't know if you realize, like, you're just leading by example.
I believe y'all are twins for real. What's crazy is every time I go take the boxes to UPS or the post office or whatever, basically she gets sales because people's like, oh, that's a nice box. What is that? And then I explain and I tell them. And they'll take a picture of the little website on the side and everything. So that alone, the look of it sells itself.
It's everything. And hey, listen, if you need a box vendor, I got you, girl.
Okay. I'm gonna hit you up for that because I have one, but I need a backup for sure. I might even need a person to replace that one.
Yeah, so I'll give you my lady that does our boxes and our packaging.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, Allie, before we head out, you have
I just appreciate everything. Again, I want to reiterate, focusing on the 90% positive, focus on the good and not the bad, the 90% versus the 10%, whatever that is. Maybe that's something you're doing great or something you need to change, but focus on the majority and don't let the other stuff cloud your headspace. Correct. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Monique, for joining us today. You have been amazing. This was like the perfect finale for season 3. You really brought it home for me, brought out some emotions and everything else. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
No problem.
Yes, and for sharing your journey. For anybody that is listening, make sure you visit Mielle. Can you please tell anybody listening where they can find you?
Yeah, so you can find me at mielleorganics.com. Any Target, Sally's, Walmart, CVS, Rite Aid, beauty supply store. You can go to our website to see what retailers we're in. And you can also follow me at Exquisite Mo. And yeah, that's it.
Yes.
Yeah, Monique, I want to say one thing too. Thank you so much for being a blessing to my wife, helping her out.
Yes.
Oh, no problem. Listen, we have to connect like in person. I could share so many stories with you all. Like it'll just like blow your mind. So, obviously once COVID-y, my daughter calls it COVID-y. Once that's over, we gotta meet and do lunch or something.
Yes, absolutely. And I want to also thank you just for being one of those women who actually shares, like even sharing with me personally when we do connect over the phone, but also just watching your profile on Instagram. I love that you are a sharing person. You don't hold anything back. And that's what we need more of. We need more of that energy. So I really appreciate that. I commend you. Thank you so much for donating your time to us today. This has been great. So everybody else, make sure you download, subscribe, make sure you visit notforlazymoms.com. And for more information, if you're watching this on YouTube, just check the description out below and you can find all the links to find Monique Rodriguez and Mielle Organics and everything else that is Mielle related. So thank y'all so much. Y'all have a great one and we will see you season 4. So y'all take care and God bless.